Hello, and welcome back to Happy Time, Happy Money podcast. And today we have Billy Guan. Billy is a licensed financial consultant. He has been in the field of financial services for the last 7 years and have been featured in multiple publications such as Yahoo Finance, International Business Times, Disrupt, and recently BuzzFeed. He helped many clients build up tax-free retirement strategies as well as protecting their assets from market downturns. Hi and welcome, Billy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, so good to have you here. I will always, my first question will be, tell us more about you. What inspired you to do what you do, who you are, and how do we get to know you better?
Awesome. So when I graduated from college, I used to be a magician. So I used to be a performer and I did shows and things like that. And I knew I didn't want to live that life for too long because it's, living out of your luggage, going to different tours and stuff like that. And so I was very fortunate and I met a mentor from a business project and he took me under his wing and we worked on a couple of business projects beforehand. And then after that project concluded, he reached out to me again and said, hey, I'm building a financial firm. Do you know anything about finances? And me being, a magician at the time, I didn't know anything about money. And so I was like, I don't know anything. Can you teach
me?
I'll
create money for you if you want to.
And so, yeah, so that's pretty much, how I kind of got into the financial education space. And so once he kind of showed me, the ropes, the strategies that I teach my clients now, I fell in love with it. I thought there was a lot of opportunity and that people needed to know more about financial education. And so ended up getting licensed. I'm licensed in like 25 states right now. And, now I'm just working with as many people across the country as I can to teach them about financial literacy, how to get out of debt, how to build up their asset portfolio, and how to make sure that they, take care of their families properly with generational wealth.
Beautiful. So your niche basically is creating generational wealth, or what is it, investments, or how you do that?
Mm-hmm. So I work with a team. I work with pretty much an Avengers team of financial professionals. So I work with credit repair specialists, tax advisors, real estate advisors, mortgage advisors, living trusts, and estate planning lawyers and things like that. And I am the financial advisor or consultant that kind of works together with every single one of those components. And so when I work with clients, I look at their financial profile and I look them up and down and say, hey, this is what you're messing up on. This is what we need to do. You need to talk to this guy, and this guy, so that you can make sure that your assets are transferring over to your family without having to pay too much taxes or probate or things like that. Mm-hmm. And so we work together hand in hand whenever we work with clients.
I love that. So basically you have everybody's doing their job and make sure that people are taken care of. So what is your let's say if you don't have debt and then you want to start invest, what is your strategies on investing in the current situation, current moment in the world?
In the current situation in the world right now, we are in unprecedented times, right? The market's going crazy. We don't know if it's going to go up, if it's going to go down. Everything's overinflated. So one of the biggest things that I teach my clients is how to make sure that they protect their assets. And if the markets were to crash, they don't lose anything. And so obviously we want to build a foundation with those type of strategies so that in case, we do get to retirement age, and we will, right? Time only moves forward. That person has that guaranteed lifetime income there in place. And so once we kind of set that back end up, we can go into things like IRAs or crypto or real estate and other type of more quote unquote riskier type of investments. But we just want to make sure that the backbone of your entire portfolio is safe. And then once income gets better, once you have more money coming in, you can then venture off into more quote unquote risky investments or other types of alternative investments. My whole thing is creating multiple layers of financial protection.
Mm-hmm. So what is some factors that will impact people's investments?
Taxes, volatility, markets going up and down, asset under management fees, and potential usage, because those 4 things can cause a person's ability to compound their investments to be severely impacted, because taxes are going to be a huge thing in the future. Right now, we owe around $30 trillion, which means that if the US government was to rob every single billionaire in the States, they would still owe 26 or $27 trillion, which means we have a lot of money that we need to owe, right? And so that bill needs to be paid. The US can't default on that. Otherwise, the entire global economy is going to collapse. And so taxes are going to have to skyrocket. And if that's going to be the case, you want to make sure that you protect your assets from Uncle Sam, because Uncle Sam always wants a piece.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You just got me like, I know that we have a really huge debt ceiling in America, but that if you even, take money from all the billionaires and that's not enough, there's definitely a problem right there.
Absolutely.
A huge problem. So what can you do? Like, what will be your number one advice to like what to start protect in order, like how to not pay so much taxes? So I think it's a
So
lottery. Like I'm from Russia originally, and we don't pay that much taxes. And I don't think Russia owned that much money anyway. And it's still fine. And here it's
mhm.
insane in America.
Oh, absolutely. And
39%. Crazy.
especially since we're living in California too, that's
Yeah.
also another, tack on there. And so did I say trillion or billion earlier? I
I
just
think
wanted to clarify. I think
I don't
trillion,
remember
right?
billion. I think billions of dollars and then trillions of dollars.
No,
It's
trillion. So
trillion.
we owe 30.
Because,
Yeah, we owe
yeah,
30 trillion. And if you rob all the billionaires, it's still
yeah.
$26 trillion left, right? And so Uncle Sam is going to look at other people's investments and things like that that are tax deferred, things like 401k, to kind of get the taxes out from there. And so there's a huge treasure trove there, which means that eventually when we get to retirement age, we're going to be forced to pull that money out. And that's when Uncle Sam's going to tax people at higher federal levels. And depending on the states that you live in, California has some of the highest taxes. I know a lot of folks that make really, really high incomes. They love California, but they move to places like Texas, Nevada, Florida, because they don't have that state income tax. And so that's a huge impact on a person's ability to retire, because if you're paying like 50% of your income to taxes, that's a huge problem. And so that's one really, really big thing. Now, another big thing is volatility. You just never know what's going to happen in the stock market, right? It goes up, it goes down, goes sideways, whatever the case may be, who knows? 3 days from now, it might go up. 3 days from now, it might go down. So it's, something that is very, very volatile and unpredictable. Now, people can day trade, and that's totally fine. That's a way for them to make income, but it's not necessarily a way to build sustainable wealth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It takes a lot of time and energy to day trade.
Yeah.
So what are your advices on taxes? Is just to move to other state?
Not necessarily.
What
There's
is it?
tax.
What is it we can
There's
do that
there's
still
tax
want to
free.
live in California?
There's tax-free investment vehicles where you can put money into, where essentially you pay your taxes up front right now when tax rates are low. And then in the future, when you decide to retire, you can pull all that money out completely tax-free. Now, there's things like Roths, index plans, SERP plans. They're called supplemental executive retirement plans, or rich man's Roth. There's a whole bunch of options out there. It's just most people don't know about it.
Beautiful. All right. And the last question that I always ask on this podcast is, if you filling the blank in a sentence, if you really knew me, you will know that I am blank.
If you really know me, you would know that I am a goofball at heart. I like making people laugh when I do consultations. I try to incorporate jokes because, with something as serious as finances, it requires a little bit of lightheartedness. People are way too uptight. So I want to make sure people are comfortable.
Yes. And I know that you are providing an amazing gift for our audience today. Well, tell us more about it.
So I do consultations, complimentary consultations to help people get them off their way to, build wealth. And you could find me on your podcast page. Probably have all the links up there soon. So yeah, definitely look me up there.
Absolutely. And I know that the best platform for Billy is Instagram, if I don't mistaken. And we will link, if you're watching or listening to this episode, just scroll down in there in the caption. There is a link that goes to the page where you can find audio, video version, or transcript of this episode and send it to your friend. And if you found that helpful and useful, definitely share it with your family and friends, and follow Billy and schedule a call with him as well. All the links that we mentioned in this episode will be there. Thank you so much for coming over and sharing your knowledge. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.